doing it from behind. Here we go again with that.
How many hours we got the babysitter here for?
However long the battery on the iPad lasts. Uh-oh, what's this?
Oh Lord. Demographic data related to COVID.
19, including age, race, health conditions.
She gets all
Alright.
those Enneagram 6 updates on her phone.
That's funny because I was just wondering, can somebody show me a picture of the curve and what it looks like now? We were trying to flatten this thing. Like, is it flattening or what?
It's
Been 2 or 3 weeks
It's
now.
supposed to flatten, but then it's gonna
We've
pick
been
right
flattening?
back up.
I don't know.
Hey, guys.
Hey y'all, welcome to the vlogcast. Today we're here talking about our April budget. Yes, it is April the 7th. Is it April? Is it May? Is it Maypril? Is it March-pril? I have no idea what month it is, what day it is. Or it is 2020 though. We know that.
Is that when syrup was invented? Like in between May and April? And so they called it maple syrup?
It came from a maple tree, baby.
Oh, dang it.
Yes, it's April 7th, and yes, I have finally just gotten the budget, I guess, kind of at this point in the budgeting process. It's kind of interesting because we said in the beginning how it was like super crazy and overwhelming and to figure it all out. But at this point, we're like 3 months into officially kind of like budgeting before the month begins and telling our money where to go. And so a lot of it is consistent and straightforward. I kept putting this one off because this month is so weird with all the quarantine stuff and everything going on. So as much as I said it's kind of straightforward, it's kind of not. I feel like I do have a general overall perspective of like categories. So I knew that like this wasn't gonna be charged this month, but this was. So as we're moving into the month, we're not going anywhere or doing anything. So basically it was only kind of groceries that I had to figure out.
It wasn't haircuts. If y'all missed that video, go check it out.
Go check out the video where I did this haircut, and obviously it looks pretty good.
This is like just woke up. I haven't touched it. You know how after you get your haircut for the first time? Guys, you can literally wake up the next day and it's still the same way. It has fallen down a little bit because I've been out in the rain.
I mean,
anyway.
in my next life, can I be a dude? Or maybe I should just cut my hair like yours and then I can wake up looking like that.
Sinead O'Connor.
Okay, so we got a lot of questions on the April budget. So before we like tell y'all actually how much we're spending in each category, like we like to do, we like to give you real numbers and tell you how it is, even though that's kind of a weird, unconventional thing to do. Let's just go ahead and answer some questions about the whole, like what's the deal with the April budget? What are you doing with the extra money that you're not spending on school or that you're not spending on aftercare for the kids or whatever else? There are some increases and some decreases due to this whole quarantine situation. Oh, yeah, we should tell them about that. Yeah, so that's part of it too. That's a decrease in a, we need to talk about how we're gonna handle that.
We're gonna decrease,
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I guess we'll start with that. The biggest thing is several of y'all have asked about like the whole mortgage issue. I know a lot of people have been able to get their payments deferred, or based on who you pay your mortgage through, they're doing different things. You also missed a video where we took our house off the market. We're no longer selling our house, and go watch that video right here. But we did decide to take our house off the market while this is all passing for a number of reasons. You can watch it and figure it out there. Part of that decision was helped by the fact that our mortgage company is deferring mortgage payments for 3 months. So the next mortgage payment would not be due until July 1st. The way ours is doing it is they add those payments to the very end of your loan. Some companies are doing it where you don't have to pay it for 3 months, but then you have to pay those whole 3 missing months in July, which would just doesn't even help anybody out.
That hurts a lot. Because that's my whole question is like, well, who came up with the number 3 months? Like, what happens if in 3 months it's worse than it is now?
Well, I think they'll reassess at that point. But at this point, they're just going ahead and giving you, they're estimating, you know, to try to avoid having to redo it if it's only 1 month or whatever else.
True.
We are going to take advantage of that basically for ours. Well, I guess, I don't know. I had to send in like a paper that I had to fill out. We didn't have to give documentation necessarily, but we just had to say how we've been impacted, which, as you know, we can still do our job, but having the kids home, we have a lot less hours in the day that are for work, and so we're definitely not able to produce the same amount of content as we were before. So we're planning to do that, but we're not planning to act like we're doing that as much as we can. We're planning to try as much as we can to continue putting the payment that we would have put for the mortgage into savings, so that when we get to that point, we will have that covered. Because the way that our money works, as we've talked about before, is like a lot of our money with the type of jobs that we do, we may not get it for 60 to 90 days. So while we may not directly be impacted on our May paycheck, it's gonna be like, you know, June or July, all of a sudden we might not be able to bring in as much money because of the work we weren't able to do this month. We're planning to go ahead and continue to put that aside if we can. So we're not just gonna blow that money. Obviously it's nice to have the cushion if for some reason there is a month that we are short in the meantime. Along those lines of other things that are cut out, our kids do go to school, or Brooks is in a preschool, Gaines is in a private kindergarten program. And so the way the school is doing it is they're not having you pay tuition for April or May, which is really nice, and that's a big chunk of money. The kids always do a summer program at their same school that's like a 6-week program that is basically, the 6 weeks is basically the cost of what it is for 1 month of school. That is usually due at the beginning, like in May. So that is gonna be due in May, even though we don't have May tuition, but that ends up being really nice because typically it's like we have to pay 2 months worth of tuition in May, and that would have been difficult to do. So pretty much for May, we're gonna kind of, or for April, I'm taking the money we would have paid for school in April and saving it until May when we have to pay that summer tuition. Of course, should this quarantine go on longer, we won't have the summer program, and that will be additional money that we can put aside or do what we need to do with it. But for the meantime, saving that to pay the summer tuition.
Another way we're impacted is they provided 2 snacks during school. And these kids eat more snacks, it seems, during this quarantine than I've ever seen. And we were talking about that the other day. We're like, why does it seem like they're just eating snacks all day long? But it's because they were at school and we didn't see them eating 2 of those snack sessions during the school day. So,
well, and we weren't having to like fix them lunch in the middle of the day, which I guess we could still do it as if they're in school and fix their lunch like the night before. But we would be making their lunch either as we're making breakfast or as we're making dinner. And now we're doing like the whole 3 meals a day. Bless, why does everybody have to eat so much? 3 meals a day, dang. However, in addition to the fact that we're kind of putting aside some of, or the tuition money to pay for the summer program, there are a couple of new expenses that present themselves here in this house in the summertime. And one of those is a mosquito treatment. I don't know where y'all live or what your situation is. This may sound really weird to you. Most communities, I think, have like or cities maybe treat the whole area for mosquitoes. And I don't know if it's just because we're kind of back up against kind of a wooded area, but we have a ton of mosquitoes. And so we do use a mosquito service throughout the summer. And it's $69 every 3 weeks, and it is 100% worth it. That may sound like first world problems, but especially with the quarantine right now, you literally can't go outside for more than 5 minutes without getting like 10 mosquito bites, and that's just miserable and unhealthy.
I never get bit.
Yeah, Cullen doesn't really get bit.
You got that sugar in your blood.
I do. Well, and Gaines, one of the kids does. One of the kids gets bitten a lot too, and that's just not, it's not fun, and it's hard to like enjoy your outdoors when you have
and they come back for free if you have any issues.
Yes.
Or, you know, they come back and respray. So.
It's a really great program. So they come and do that. There's also like general pest control, which we don't really have a problem with in the wintertime, but in the summertime we do. So that's an added expense. Yard maintenance is obviously a ton more yard maintenance that needs to be done in the summertime, which we've been doing. However, that's a decision we've had to make too, because it was okay and it was working fine when the kids were in school. So like we had the dedicated time to work and then the time to spend with the kids and do the yard stuff. But now with the kids being home 24/7, it's like this morning I had to choose between working or doing the stuff that I needed to do in the yard, because that was the time that the kids were occupied doing something
and getting stung by a wasp.
And I got stung by a wasp. It got a lot better since yesterday. I got a little wasp sting yesterday, which is fine. I can handle that, but it's just like, it's worth paying the yard guy to come and help with that, because we're basically losing the money that we'd be making working during that time. Previously, the thought on having a yard person was like, oh, we can spend more time as a family and, you know, we'll have opportunities to do that. Now it's like, no, I've got to be working.
I spent an hour and a half the other day trying to get the lawnmower to crank up.
But that was the other thing. Is
and
our lawnmower
the first time I went out there, like when we first moved in, I got bad poison ivy before we had a yard guy.
Well, and the lawnmower currently not working, so we would have to get the lawnmower replaced in order to fixed or whatever. Yeah. In order to get the amount of like weed treatment for all of our areas, like our fertilizer and weed treatment, we would be paying probably about the same amount as we'd be paying the yard guy to bring his own weed treatment, apply it himself, use that time for him to do it versus us taking away from our work time. Our pets need flea medication in the summer. That is just like a given. There's no avoiding it in the area where we live. In the winter, it's not something that we have to stay on top of, but summer it definitely is, so that's about to start back up. We also have both of our life insurance payments we pay yearly, and those both go through in the summer. So we got like a list of things that like all of a sudden this summer are gonna have to be paid. So that adds into everything, and I've kind of calculated that into our budget for April and moving forward. That's something that we kind of didn't talk about. We didn't sit down and have a budget committee meetings per se. Just it's hard to do that right now.
And conquer.
I can't even think about it myself. I've had a hard time just even focusing on it. I don't know what to do about like some of the things. I guess we'll just kind of take it out as we go and kind of figure it out, but I don't know. I guess the school payment that we won't be paying in May will go towards what needs to be paid for the life insurance over the summer. You know what I mean? And then some of that is also going to be divided up and like distributed to the mosquito treatment and the pets and all that. So that's kind of where we're gonna get that extra money from, which it's all kind of a blessing because I don't know how it would have all worked out otherwise. I think that kind of covers just like the increases and decreases that are due to either the quarantine or just
and
the
stuff you don't really realize until you start doing your budget for the month. Then you're like, oh crap, this has changed, this has changed, this has changed. And so yeah, it all varies.
So it goes to show how like, even though it seems like it's getting a little bit more easy to do the budgeting thing, it's gonna take a whole year to go through and have things go, oh shoot, I forgot we have to do the mosquito treatments in the summer, or you know, that kind of thing.
And even still, you don't plan for a pandemic to put everybody back at home.
Exactly. We are saving gas money.
Yeah.
Like gas in the car. We're saving on that. However, our power bill is probably more because we're home more.
How much is your power bill? Have y'all noticed that? I wanted to know, like that we were talking about that the other day.
Y'all be prepared.
There's gonna be a lot of families out there for a rude awakening when they're like, why is our power bill so high? Because y'all been home 24/7.
You just don't even think about it. So, okay. So for our April budget, like we had said before, we're not pausing paying off all debt because we do have payments that we have to make to people that we owe money to, but we're pausing paying extra towards our debt right now. Counting out all of our bills, all of our debt payments and all the stuff that we owe, our extra spending money. We do have an increase this month on groceries because like we stocked up to be home for a while. So I went ahead and just made groceries for the month $1,000. I know that seems like really excessive to some of y'all. Some of y'all get it. Some of y'all are like, I pay $300 a month for my family of 17. And I'm like, go you do that. But we spent like $800 just in stocking up, which will hopefully last us into May anyway.
We're on our last roll of toilet paper again then.
We're on our last roll of toilet paper.
And what happens this week, everybody goes crazy again and has to get back out for essentials.
Right, so I mean, I think we have plenty of food. And with the $1,000 budget, I've left us $150 is left for the rest of the month. That will hopefully not even need to be spent. If it will, it'll be for things like milk and strawberries. There's one in the freezer.
Oh yeah.
Just kind of the things that go bad quickly like that. And so I think $150 should definitely cover that kind of stuff. We are just doing the other stuff. I just kind of basically transferred over just the same as the previous month. We're putting $30 in miscellaneous. I'm kind of debating changing that miscellaneous category up in the future because it usually just gets thrown in with groceries. It's kind of just an oh snap folder if we forget something. I don't know. Well, that's just gonna be there. The $30 just in case we've forgotten something or something crazy happens. I do have $50 in our eating out fund, which we've been putting in there every month, and we've spent very little of it each time. Good with continuing to kind of build that up if we need it, especially with everything that's going on right now. We do have 80 in our fun category, which is where the same amount we've done for all of the other months. This goes usually towards like our alcohol fund. Somebody was like, you didn't spend $80 on alcohol, did you? And I'm like, well, pandemic, you know. That's also for like, if we get the kids a new movie on iTunes, or we're obviously not going anywhere.
You said pandemic, it's pandemic.
I said pan.
Pam.
Pan.
Anyway.
What movie is that? Step Brothers?
Yeah.
But I mean, we're obviously not going to be going and doing anywhere fun. I mean, doing anything fun. But
That could also go to like a new inflatable pool like we got last month.
Right.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah. So we're obviously not going anywhere, but we just have that as kind of like help. We're stuck in the house. Whatever we may need to get us through that. That fund is there. The fund.
I like that.
I'm still contributing $50 a month to the car maintenance fund, $20 for Brooks's birthday, $20 for Gaines' birthday, $20 for Christmas. Those are all gonna have to go up, but for right now, I just didn't have the brain power to work anything else out. I have $200 for this month in the pets envelope because they're gonna need the flea treatment, and in order to do that, I was emailing with the vet the other day and they said because they're due for their shots, they won't give me the flea treatment that we need until they come in and do their shots. And it's like, I think 120 and then 130 per pet, and we have 4 pets. So.
And they won't let you come into the residence or the building. They come out to the car and get it, and that's just kind of traumatic, I feel like. I don't know.
I feel that one. I know I keep putting it off. I'm like, they really need this flea stuff, but I don't want to have to like send my pet in because you can't come in. They're like, call us when you pull up. We'll come out and get your pet, take them in. I'm like, you're going to take them in by themselves and give them shots?
Ada would be like, no!
Ada already hates the vet and like literally poops herself when she goes in there.
It's just like so much more comforting when you can walk back there with her in the room, and I don't know.
Well, and I still worry about the whole transfer of any contact. I'm like, can we just like hold up,
wait a minute.
But I'm going ahead and putting that in there. There's still a little bit in the pets envelope from previous times. That kind of gets us to where we are for like spending money. We're doing envelopes a little bit different this time because any groceries, the majority of groceries that I'm doing are gonna need to be in the bank and not cash, unless it's Aldi. For one, I'd prefer not to exchange and touch money right now. So I'm leaving it in there. So what I did is I made us.
This is where the whole cash system is gonna suffer, I think, in the future.
I'm afraid for us though of going, oh, we'll just keep track of it on the debit card. Because that's where we failed before. So what I did was I made us a little index card to keep in the folder. And so it says groceries, we got $1,000 in there. We spent the $737 at Sam's the other day, and then $113 I did on Walmart grocery pickup, which I don't even think I talked about that. There were several things that we only get at Walmart that we had to get there. So that leaves $149, $150. So anytime that there's another grocery trip or anything spent, we'll use the debit card and then deduct it on this and keep it in the envelope so that we keep up with the habit of like the whole envelope thing, you know?
Because previously you were like writing it on the envelope itself. Like,
I had it like
but
on
then we wouldn't
the
like
back of the
update
envelope.
it because we'd be in a hurry or something. So
but you can look in there and see the money when it's cash. So I'd be like, well, I mean, I can see we got like, you know, $100 left in here. As far as the money goes in general, like I feel better about, I think I'm gonna do that for the majority of the folders because I just feel better about not having cash like in the house right now. We talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Just kind of the fear of, I don't know. We've talked a lot about this, the fear of the uncertain times. People get crazy and you never know.
And the normal thing to do is walk around with a mask and gloves on. So same thing goes to when you're going to a store.
Yeah.
Like crazy time.
Never really had too much of a concern of keeping the cash in the house in general because, you know, it is what it is. But we do have a place that we keep it locked up when we're in the house. I just would prefer to kind of keep it not in the house right now. I'm gonna do some more of those little index cards and keep them in our envelopes also so we don't have to exchange the money. Like when I go to the vet, I don't want to be like, oh, here's my money, bring me cash back that's been in your place that somebody else has touched, I'm like, here's my card.
Yeah. Did you calculate in that $10 you got back from that field trip that we don't have to go on anymore?
Yes, I did. It goes back in the school extras fund.
Okay, good.
So this remains with $30 in it now. And it's just nice to know that once school does start back, we'll already have a little fund. Like this could be our back to school fund starting up because, you know, there's back to school expenses. I feel like we still have a ways to go in general as far as like the sinking funds thing. Like I feel like we're gonna need a bigger fund for Brooks's birthday. Right now we have $40 set aside, which who knows, that may be plenty because we may be just sitting here at this house waving at everybody from the street. Also didn't put anything else aside for Easter, which I kind of thought if we decided to do a couple little eggs or something, some Easter eggs, we could take that out of the miscellaneous fund, but we still have Easter egg dye from last year. We do still have some.
Plastic eggs though, to like fill up, to do like an Easter egg hunt in the backyard.
We should probably
do that.
I know.
Ooh, I'm gonna hide those eggs good. I love it.
That'd be fun. We should do that. And I know that Target does drive up orders instead of having to go in and be exposed. That's our April budget. I feel like I probably didn't even explain it as well as I usually do. And I feel like there's questions that have gone unanswered and things unsaid. And I hope I even calculated everything right. But in between the 5 minutes that I had with somebody not asking me for something, I tried to put this together. So it is what it is. And we're gonna just go with it one day at a time.
How is y'all's quarantine going?
How's your budget doing during the quarantine? I want to know adjustments other people have had to make to budgets, like whether it's that you have more money now because you're not driving to work every day, you're not eating out as much, you're not, you know.
You lost your job, so you're having to cut back in that aspect and figure out other ways to, I just can't even imagine. It's hard because I think Clint just tweeted this, like he wanted to tweet about and complain about his work, but he's like lucky to even still have a job, so he's just gonna STFU and put his head back down and get to work.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to be able to continue doing this. And I saw Rachel Hollis Instagram something the other day where she had written on her mirror and said, as a reminder to herself, that your quarantine is a privilege because there's so many people that are out there having to go to work, that are having to be away from their kids, they're having to worry about their exposure to things. Yes, it's annoying and frustrating that the kids are screaming and asking for 17 snacks and won't leave you alone so you can work from home. But there's also people who have lost their jobs or who are having to go to work still. So just being thankful, regardless of your situation, for what is going on, is something to just kind of keep in mind during this process.
Woo!
And I keep reminding myself of that too.
We're gonna be running a tight ship here in the next month.
Getting these kids to follow the rules?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Lord Jesus, it's been a day and a half.
Oh. Homeschool, baby. Thank y'all for watching this budget meeting. Kind of, sort of, she did it, and I was just like mediating and everything else that we were doing throughout
we've
the day.
Talked about it.
It's been
here
on,
and there.
yeah.
So
At
I've
first,
been like,
she's tried to do it on April 1st. I was like, this is a joke. I'm not doing it following for your April Fool's jokes. We're not doing a budget right now. What's tomorrow's video gonna be about?
Tomorrow's video is going to be about.
She's got a list.
I got a list. One thing, just let us know if you want to know this. I was gonna tell you about how much debt we did pay off in March. Give you an update on our current debt sheets, like all of the sheets, how much we've paid off, where we stand as far as the whole debt snowball situation goes.
Be sure to subscribe. Check out all those video links in the cards and down below in the description, and we will see you later.
Bye.